The battleground of Georgia, you'll remember 4 years ago, President Biden winning that state by just about 11,000 votes. Tonight, the news, the fake bomb threats sent to poll workers coming from Russian email accounts in Georgia. The state insisting voting has not been interrupted. And so here's the question tonight. How soon could we know Georgia's results? ABC's Steve Osunsami lives in Georgia. He's our Georgia expert, and he's with us all night long. Hey, Steve.
Hey, David, the biggest challenge has been those fake bomb warnings sent to poll workers in counties that officials say are favorable to the vice president. The Secretary of State says that none of those were real, and a few polling places did have to close for about half an hour, but otherwise we've seen few problems, and most people are spending just minutes casting their votes. A new state law means that we're going to see results tonight for as much as 70% of the vote very quickly. By law, the early vote and absentee votes on hand have to be reported by the counties within an hour of the polls closing, which could mean as early as 8 p.m. Eastern. And the Secretary of State is saying that we could have as much as 90% of the total vote counted by tonight. But to put this in perspective, we have to remember what happened in 2020. The presidential election here went on for days. It was super close, and Joe Biden won by just under 12,000 votes. David?
Steve Osunsami in Atlanta for us tonight. Steve, our thanks to you. Our political director, Rick Klein, right back over at the big board tonight. Rick, first of all, the early voting numbers, they really have been quite impressive from both sides as we headed into Election Day. Just give us a recap here where we stand.
Yeah, David, the number of people voting early, 86 million and counting. It's going to approach the record from last time. Of course, that was the COVID year. It's going to be hard to match that. But the big difference is in the breakdown among party identification. In 2020, we saw a 10-point gap. That's 44% of them were Democrats, only 34% Republicans. This time around, it's just a 2-point gap. This time, Democrats only slightly outnumbering the number of Republicans. And the big number here that we're looking at, 22% of unaffiliated voters. We don't know who they voted for. That's going to be a big demographic for both of them to try to lock into.
We simply have no idea how that vote will break down once those votes are tallied. In the meantime, Rick, take us through the night. We just heard Steve tell us that Georgia is pretty convinced it could have 90% of the vote tallied tonight in one of the key battlegrounds. That's an encouraging sign. Yeah,
just taking a look at the battlegrounds, we start in the southeast and then move to the north and west. Georgia and North Carolina, they both close relatively early, 7 and 7:30 Eastern, and we're expecting a relatively fast count. Pennsylvania, it closes at 8, but it's going to take a long time to get results. Michigan could be a little bit earlier. Yes, the final poll closing is at 9, but a lot of voters in that state are actually done at 8, so we'll see data in. Those upper Midwestern states will be critical, but Pennsylvania just looks so important no matter how you slice this election, David.
We always say that, and we say it for a reason. Rick Klein with us tonight. Thanks, Rick.